Lauren's wedding, meanwhile, became a full production. Grand Monarch Hotel, downtown, 500 guests. Estimated budget, $135,000. Elena's parents contributed $48,000, more than they could comfortably afford. Savings dipped, credit stretched, but appearances mattered. Black tie ceremony at 5:30 p.m., cocktail hour at 6:15, reception at 7 o'clock, past hors d'oeuvres, seafood tower, filet entree, champagne wall, late-night dessert room, 10-piece band, high-end wedding planner with a fee just under $20,000. The rehearsal dinner took place July 4th. Private steakhouse dining room, 60 guests, roughly $19,000. Elena was not invited. She wasn't in the bridal party. Her mother posted photos that night with the caption, "Celebrating our beautiful daughter's final night before forever." Hundreds of likes. Elena saw the post at 2:07 a.m. during MedPass. She did not react. The week before the wedding, her mother called. "We'll be there, honey," she said. "We'll come a little early, stay for the ceremony, and then head to Lauren's. We need to be at the Grand Monarch by 5 for formal photos. You understand?" Elena understood perfectly. Their plan was obvious. Arrive around 2 o'clock, stay 45 minutes, leave before anything meaningful, just long enough to say they came. "I understand," Elena said. "I knew you would," her mother replied. "You've always been so reasonable." July 5th, wedding day. Elena woke at 6:30 a.m. in a hotel suite 2 blocks from the pavilion, foundation courtesy room. Marcus had spent the night at the station. Tradition. Her bridesmaids arrived at 7 o'clock. 4 PICU nurses, Danielle, Rachel, Donna, Lynn, and Marcus's sister, Bridget. There was coffee, breakfast. No chaos, just calm. Danielle asked, "How are you feeling?" "Ready?" Elena said. Rachel glanced up from unpacking garment bags. "Your family coming?" Elena looked at her phone. No text from her parents, nothing from Lauren. "We'll see," she said. At 8 o'clock, the hair and makeup artist arrived. Her services had been gifted by a family whose son Elena had cared for the year before. By 11 o'clock, Elena was dressed. Ivory silk crepe, cap sleeves, chapel-length train, minimalist lines. Elegant, expensive. Not that her mother would ever know. At 11:15, Sophie Hart arrived with her parents. She was 8 now, 2 years cancer-free. White flower girl dress, pink ribbon in her hair, a pediatric cancer awareness pin sewn into the sash. "You look like a princess," Sophie said. Elena knelt to her level. "You look like a miracle." Because she did. At 12:30, the venue coordinator texted, "Guests arriving. Everything looks beautiful. Take a breath." By 1 o'clock, the street outside the pavilion was lined with emergency vehicles in formal presence formation. 26 firefighters from Marcus's station and neighboring companies. Dress uniforms, honor guard. A local news van parked near the entrance. The hospital had invited them. Community feature segment. A PICU nurse marrying a firefighter in the first wedding hosted at the new pavilion. Charity fundraiser angle. Good local story. By 1:30, the ballroom was filling. Fire Commissioner Daniel Ruiz, a city council member, hospital CEO, Dr. Catherine Reynolds, board members, donor families, former patient families, PICU staff, families whose children Elena had helped save. The Hart family sat in the 3rd row, 175 chairs, almost all filled. Her parents' seats were reserved in the 3rd row center, not front row, 3rd row, still empty. At 1:42, her phone buzzed. Her mother. "So sorry, honey. Traffic is awful. There by 2:15 latest." Translation, they left late. They prioritized getting ready for Lauren's black tie event. They assumed Elena's ceremony would wait for them. Elena didn't answer. At 1:53, she heard car doors outside. They arrived at 2:08 p.m., 8 minutes after the ceremony had begun. Elena was still in the bridal suite with the man walking her down the aisle. Not her father. Fire Commissioner Ruiz. He had once pulled Marcus out of a warehouse collapse during a rescue years earlier. Marcus trusted him with his life. So did Elena. Through the side window, she watched her parents' car pull up to the valet. Her father stepped out first. Black tuxedo. Prepared for Lauren's wedding, not hers. Her mother emerged in a full evening gown, hair set, makeup flawless, dressed for photographs elsewhere. Both of them looked mildly confused, then more confused. Luxury cars lined the entrance, honor guard outside the ballroom, news camera near the doors, donor plaques in the lobby, the Hart family name displayed in brushed gold lettering on the wall. They walked inside, and according to the venue coordinator, that was the moment both of them stopped moving. The ballroom was already full. Ceremony in progress, floor-to-ceiling glass, skyline beyond it, white floral arrangements, string quartet, professional lighting, rows of seated guests, hospital leadership, fire department command staff, donor families, former patient families, a local news camera in the back corner. Not a sad little ceremony, not a backup plan, not an afterthought. Her mother's mouth opened. No words came out. Her father's face lost color so quickly he looked ill. The coordinator approached them quietly. "Mr. and Mrs. Carter, we saved your seats. Third row center, not front row." They sat down. Her father scanned the room slowly, as if trying to understand how much he had misunderstood. Her mother's hands shook when she opened the program. And that was before Elena even walked in. Wedding of Elena Carter and Marcus Hale. Hart Family Pavilion Ballroom, in support of pediatric cancer research. Elena's mother read the first line, then the second, then the third. Her eyes lifted slowly toward Elena's father. He was no longer looking at the program. He was looking at the room. Recognition moved across his face in stages. That was a city council member he had once tried very hard to get introduced to at a dealership charity event 2 years earlier. That was Fire Commissioner Daniel Ruiz. That was Dr. Catherine Reynolds, the hospital's CEO, whose face had been in local news coverage just a few weeks earlier. That was not the kind of crowd people stumbled into by accident. Her mother's phone lay silent in her lap, but Elena found out later that Lauren had texted her at 1:50. "Lauren, where are you?" "Mom, at Elena's, leaving soon." Lauren, "Everyone here is watching her live stream." At 2:14, the music changed. Paschal bells canon. Everyone stood. The bridesmaids walked one by one down the candle-lined aisle bordered with white roses. Then Sophie Hart, 8 years old, cancer survivor, pink ribbon in her hair, white dress, flower petals in her hands. People were already crying. Many of them knew her story, knew what she had survived, knew who had sat with her family through nights most people would never survive emotionally. Elena's parents still didn't fully understand. Not yet. Then Elena entered. Commissioner Ruiz offered his arm. "Ready?" he asked quietly. "More than ever," Elena said. They walked. She saw her mother's face first. Shock, then shame, then a kind of confusion that comes when reality collides with a story you've told yourself for too long. Her father looked like he had aged 10 years in 10 minutes. Elena kept her eyes forward. Marcus was waiting for her. Steady. Still. Certain. When he took her hand, his grip grounded her instantly. The chaplain began. "We gather in a place built for healing," he said, "to celebrate two people who have built their lives around healing others." He explained the pavilion, the Hart family donation, the child whose survival changed the direction of that family's philanthropy, the nurse who had stayed, the nurse whose compassion had become part of the reason the space even existed. Elena did not turn toward her parents. She didn't need to. She could feel their silence. At 2:17, they said their vows. Marcus went first. "Elena, you've seen me at 3 o'clock in the morning covered in ash, sweat, and someone else's blood, and you never once asked me to be anything other than who I am. You've held my hand through the hard calls. You've celebrated the saves. You've carried the losses with me. You are my home, my partner, and the best decision I've ever made. I promise to choose you every day for the rest of my life." Then Elena spoke. Her voice didn't shake. "Marcus, you understand what it means to run toward the fire. You have never asked me to choose between the people I love and the people I serve. You have stood beside me through every missed holiday, every long shift, every terrible night, every hard goodbye.
This community has given us strength.
You see all of me, and you have never asked me to be smaller, quieter, easier, or less.
Your kindness
I choose you
gratitude
today.
ceremony is a
I will
testament
choose
to
you
our
tomorrow,
shared journey.
and I will keep choosing you for the rest of my life." The rings were exchanged. The chaplain smiled. "Then by the authority entrusted to me, I now pronounce you husband and wife." They kissed. The room erupted. Not polite applause, not obligation. Real warmth. Real joy. When they turned to walk back down the aisle, Elena glanced only once toward the third row. Her parents were standing and clapping, mechanically, pale, almost stunned. They exited onto the terrace for photographs while the ballroom was reset for the reception. At 3 p.m., everyone was back inside. The room had shifted beautifully. Ceremony chairs turned, tables set. Light changing behind the glass. Soft gold over the skyline.
Thank you all.
The coordinator
for being
approached
here.
Elena's parents.
To the FDNI,
Mr. and Mrs. Carter,
to our shared
we have you at
tradition of
table 8.
excellence.
Not the family table. Table 8, toward the back, near the center aisle but far enough away to make the point. Elena's mother looked at her father. "We have to leave soon for Lawrence," she whispered. "I know," he said. But they sat down anyway. At 3:08, Michael Hart stood to give the first toast. The room quieted immediately. Sophie sat in the chair beside him, swinging her feet gently under the table. 3 years ago, he began, our daughter was dying. He told the story carefully. Septic shock. PICU. The fear. The nights that felt endless. The nurse who stayed. He looked toward Elena. This woman didn't just help save Sophie's life. She gave our family hope when we had none. She sat with us at 3 o'clock in the morning. She held our hands. She fought for our daughter like she was her own. His voice broke slightly. When people ask why we donated $12 million to this hospital, I show them a picture of Elena holding our daughter's hand. That's why. And today we are honored to watch her begin her own family in a space her compassion helped make possible. He raised his glass. The room stood. Not everyone at once, but almost. The applause went on and on, long enough to become painful. Long enough that Elena's mother had to stop looking up. Long enough that her father stared down at his hands. $12 million. Inspired in part by the daughter they had dismissed for years as merely stable. Commissioner Ruiz stood next. "I've known Marcus Hale for 13 years, he said. One of the finest firefighters in this city. Calm under pressure. Steady in chaos. The person you want next to you when the situation turns bad." Then he turned toward Elena. "And Elena Carter? She's the same kind of person in a different uniform. The kind who walks into suffering and immediately starts making it survivable." He looked at both of them. "These two are the backbone of a city like this. They are the people who move toward fire while everyone else moves away." He lifted his glass. "To Elena and Marcus." The room answered loudly. Elena saw her father's expression change again. A new kind of shock. Because there were pieces of her life he had never known. Not because she had hidden them especially well, because no one had asked. At 3:46, Elena's mother's phone vibrated. Later, Elena learned it was a message from Noah, the cousin who had attended her wedding while also receiving Lauren's invitation. Noah. Half the people at Lauren's cocktail hour are on their phones watching your live stream. This is insane. The Foundation's media team had set everything up professionally. Multiple cameras, clear audio, hosted on the hospital website. At that moment, there were 914 live viewers. By 4 p.m., the number would pass 1,200. People at Lauren's event were watching Elena's wedding instead of talking about Lauren's. That part would matter later. At 4:15, Elena's mother approached her while she was speaking with Dr. Reynolds and a city council member. "Sweetheart," her mother said softly, "we need to leave soon for Lauren's." Elena turned to look at her, calm, composed. "Of course," she said. "Thank you for coming." Her mother's face shifted slightly, almost as if she had expected Elena to ask her to stay, or thank her more deeply, or acknowledge the sacrifice. Instead, Elena simply turned back to the conversation she had been having before being interrupted. Her mother stood there for one extra second, then walked away. At 4:22, her parents left, before the cake cutting, before the first dance, before the fundraising total. They slipped out of the ballroom quietly. The city council member noticed. He had met Elena's father once before at a dealership event. As George Carter passed, the council member gave him a brief nod and said, "Leaving early?" George did not answer. He kept walking. The reception continued without them. Cake cutting at 4:45. First dance at 5:10. Toasts from PICU nurses, from firefighter colleagues, from parents of children Elena had once cared for. At 6:30, the foundation director stepped up to the microphone to announce the fundraiser total. There had been $148,000 raised from guests in the room. Another $43,000 donated online through the live stream. Total, $191,000. The hospital matched the first $50,000. Final result, $241,000 for pediatric cancer research. The room stood again. Some people cried openly. Others applauded with both hands over their mouths. The live stream remained archived afterward. Over the next week, it would be viewed more than 9,000 times. Comments poured in. This is what a wedding should feel like. Crying at work watching this. Two people with real values. More weddings should mean something like this. At Lauren's wedding, meanwhile, the mood had shifted. People were distracted, phones out, whispers, comparisons. Lauren posted a photo that night around 11 p.m. of herself and Eric cutting their cake. It received far fewer likes than usual. The comments made it worse. Just watched your sister's live stream. Beautiful ceremony. Your sister raised over $190,000 for pediatric cancer research? Incredible. That hospital wedding was stunning. Lauren didn't respond to any of them. The next morning, July 6th, Elena woke up to 7 missed calls from her mother and 11 texts from Lauren. She listened to Lauren's voicemail first. Lauren sounded furious enough to shake. You did this on purpose. You knew people would compare. You made my day about you. You ruined everything. Everyone was on their phones watching your hospital wedding instead of celebrating me. I will never forgive you for this. 4 minutes of rage. Elena deleted it. Her mother's texts were softer but not less desperate. We need to talk. Please call me. We didn't know. We didn't understand what this really was. Elena did not respond that day. She and Marcus went to breakfast, then walked by the lake, left their phones in Marcus's pocket. You okay? He asked. Elena thought about it, then answered honestly. Yeah, I actually am. She agreed to meet her parents 2 weeks later, July 19th. Small coffee shop, neutral territory. Marcus came with her. Her parents arrived looking older than they had at the wedding. Her mother's makeup didn't hide the shadows under her eyes. Her father wore a polo shirt, as if dressing casually could make the conversation less serious. They sat. Her mother spoke first. We didn't know. Elena looked at her. You didn't ask. Her father leaned forward. You made us look like fools. Elena held his gaze. I didn't make you do anything. You chose Lauren. You chose wrong. That's not fair, he said. Elena almost laughed. You sat in that ballroom for 40 minutes. You stayed exactly long enough not to look completely heartless. That was the math you did. No one interrupted. You saw the commissioner, the CEO, the hospital board, the donor families. You saw what was being raised for dying children. And you still left early for Lauren's champagne wall. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. We had committed. You committed to me first, Elena said. Months before Lauren was even engaged. Silence. Her father looked down. Her mother whispered, We made a mistake. Elena shook her head once. No, you made a choice. And you've been making that same choice for years. Her mother reached across the table. Elena pulled her hand back before she could touch it. I'm not cutting you off, Elena said. But I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not taking scraps. I'm not pretending it's normal to be treated like the backup daughter. We never meant, her mother began. You did, Elena said. Maybe not intentionally every time, but you did it. You do it. Lauren earns more money, so she matters more. Lauren is visible, so she seems more impressive. I saved children's lives, but that never counted the same because it didn't come with luxury packaging. Her father opened his mouth, then closed it again. If you want to be part of my life going forward, here's what I need, Elena said. Real acknowledgement, not we didn't know. You didn't know because you didn't care enough to know. I need therapy, time, and actual proof that something changes. No one moved. I'm not doing holidays where I'm an afterthought. I'm not doing phone calls where 40 minutes goes to Lauren and 4 goes to me. I'm done. She stood. Therapy first, she said. Then we'll see. She and Marcus left. Her parents stayed seated. Neither of them touched their coffee. 3 months passed. July, August, September. In mid-July, her father sent an email. Long, specific, not vague guilt. Actual acknowledgement. Thanksgiving 2023. The dress comment. The you'll understand line. Their 40-minute appearance at the wedding. He wrote that he and her mother had started therapy, individual sessions, couples counseling, later family work if Elena ever agreed. In early September, her mother called. They spoke for 40 minutes. For the first time, Elena noticed something strange. Her mother asked about her life, her work, her honeymoon, Marcus's promotion. She did not mention Lauren once. "I'm learning things in therapy," her mother said quietly, "about why I favored her. I told myself she needed me more. I told myself you were stronger." Elena said nothing at first. Then, "I needed you too. I just stopped showing it." Long silence. Then her mother asked, "Can we meet? Just us?" Elena agreed. September 18th. Same coffee shop. 1 hour. Firm boundaries. But the door opened a crack. It wasn't fixed, but it might not be completely broken. 3 months after the wedding, Elena was back on night shift. PICU. Sophie Hart came in for a routine follow-up visit. All clear, cancer-free, thriving. She hugged Elena in the hallway. "Are you happy?" Sophie asked. Elena smiled. "Yeah, sweetheart, I really am." Sophie's father mentioned that the pavilion was hosting another wedding the following month. 2 former cancer patients, a couple who had met through treatment, another circle closing, another one opening. That was what Elena had now. A chosen family, PICU staff, firefighters, former patient families, people who chose her back. Her parents were trying, slowly, imperfectly, but trying. Lauren had not spoken to her since the voicemail. Elena did not chase her. Some doors close, others open. Part of growing up is learning which ones deserve to stay closed. Her mother had been right about one thing. People did talk about July 5th, 2025. They talked about the wedding that raised $241,000 for pediatric cancer research. They talked about the firefighter and the PICU nurse who turned a ceremony into a statement about service, gratitude, and values. They talked about the family who arrived late, left early, and what that revealed without anyone having to say it aloud. Lauren's wedding was beautiful, expensive, perfectly coordinated. Elena's was smaller, quieter, and it mattered more. Her parents chose image. Elena chose substance. And this time, she didn't apologize for it. One choice looked impressive in photographs. The other let her sleep peacefully that night. And in the end, that was the only verdict she needed. If this story made you feel something, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling us what you would have done in the main character's place. And subscribe to Sinner Stories so you never miss a new video.